I never imagined a single sentence could completely upend my world. Yet there it was, hanging in the air like a command I had no choice but to obey. "You'll wear what I say," my mom had said, her tone sharp, unwavering, leaving no room for negotiation. I froze, staring at her as the reality of her words sank in. At first, I thought it was a joke, a teasing remark. But the look on her face, stern, deliberate, unyielding, told me otherwise. My name is Alex, and until this moment, my life had been relatively ordinary. I worked a modest office job, spent evenings at home playing video games or reading, and occasionally went out with friends. I had a girlfriend, Emma, who adored me and knew me better than anyone. Yet beneath my mundane routines, there was a part of me, a secret, delicate, and fragile, that I rarely let anyone see. I had always been curious about crossdressing, not out of necessity, nor as some kind of exhibition, but as a private exploration of self. The first time I slipped into my sister's old dresses when I was 16, it had felt like discovering a hidden room in my own house, a place both forbidden and irresistibly thrilling. It wasn't about becoming someone else. It was about experiencing the spectrum of who I could be. But it was a secret I guarded fiercely. Emma knew nothing, and even thinking about my mom discovering it filled me with a mixture of fear and excitement. Now, standing in the living room with my mom, her eyes scanning me critically, I realized that secret was about to vanish. She had always been controlling in small ways, dictating my diet, commenting on my posture, insisting I clean my room to her exact standards. But this felt different, dangerous. The room itself felt oppressive. The sunlight filtering through the curtains cast a warm glow over the polished furniture, the floral wallpaper, the meticulously arranged photo frames. Normally, I loved this cozy domesticity, but today it felt like a stage. And I was the unwilling actor. Emma's voice echoed in my mind. "Alex, you don't have to live up to anyone's expectations but your own." I had clung to that mantra quietly, a shield against my mom's subtle manipulations. But now, with her standing in the room, I felt that shield falter. "You'll wear what I say," my mom repeated, her voice firmer this time. "No arguments. No excuses. You will be my daughter today. And tomorrow. And until I say otherwise." I blinked, heart pounding. "Mom, I don't understand."
What do you mean by that?
Her lips curved into a small, knowing smile. "I mean exactly what I said. You're going to dress like a girl. From head to toe. Makeup, clothes, everything. And don't even think about resisting." I wanted to protest, to argue, to retreat into the safety of my normal identity. But something in her gaze, unyielding, almost magical in its certainty, froze me in place. It was more than authority. It was expectation. And in that instant, I knew there was no way out. The challenge began in that very living room. My mom guided me to my room, where she had laid out a selection of dresses, skirts, blouses, and accessories. Each piece seemed to mock me, delicate fabrics and pastel colors that screamed femininity. My fingers trembled as I touched the soft silk of a dress, feeling the thrill of forbidden touch mix with panic. "Start with this," she instructed, holding up a light pink dress with lace trim. "And your hair, you'll braid it.
Carefully.
No shortcuts." I hesitated. The idea of braiding my hair, of presenting myself as someone other than myself, was terrifying and exhilarating at once. My palms were sweaty, my heart racing. I could feel the adrenaline in every nerve, every muscle. Emma's face flashed in my mind again. What would she think if she saw me like this? Would she laugh, scold, or, worst of all, reject me? The uncertainty gnawed at me as I reluctantly began to follow my mom's instructions. Step by step, I transformed. The dress slipped over my shoulders, hugging my frame. The braids fell neatly over my shoulders, a perfect frame for the face I had never shown anyone. Makeup followed, foundation to smooth my skin, subtle blush to highlight my cheeks, a hint of eyeliner that made my eyes look larger, more expressive. My mom guided me meticulously, adjusting each detail until it was flawless. When I finally looked in the mirror, I barely recognized myself. The reflection staring back was soft, delicate, undeniably feminine. And yet, beneath it all, I was still Alex. The duality was dizzying. I felt exposed, vulnerable, and strangely empowered all at once. "Beautiful," my mom whispered, her hand resting lightly on my shoulder. "Now you see. This is who you could be if you let me guide you." I nodded silently, unsure if I felt pride, fear, or a complicated mix of both. Every instinct told me to run, to shed this persona and reclaim my old identity. Yet a small, undeniable part of me wanted to stay, wanted to explore the new sensations, the new self. And just like that, my ordinary world had vanished. I was no longer simply Alex, boyfriend and office worker. I was stepping into a role I had never auditioned for, a daughter in my own home, guided by my mother's unyielding vision. The line between reality and performance blurred, leaving me teetering on the edge of something I didn't yet understand, but couldn't resist. The challenge had begun, and I knew, deep in my chest, that nothing would ever be the same again. The first few hours after my transformation were a whirlwind of emotion, sensation, and tension. I sat on my bed, the soft fabric of the pink dress brushing against my legs, feeling both alien and exhilarating. Every movement reminded me that I was no longer just Alex. I was playing a role dictated by my mom, forced into a delicate balance between my old identity and the persona she demanded. I stared at my reflection in the full-length mirror she had set up in my room. The braids framed my face perfectly, the makeup highlighted features I had never noticed before. My mom's attention to detail was impeccable, almost surgical. She had even insisted I wear a pair of heels that added a subtle curve to my posture, making my movements feel both graceful and precarious. I could feel the tension in my calves, the unfamiliar strain of balancing on shoes that elevated me a few inches. Each step was a reminder that I was walking a tightrope, one misstep away from exposure or humiliation. Internal conflict gnawed at me. Part of me wanted to flee, to rip off the dress, scrub off the makeup, and return to the safety of my masculine routine. But another part, the part one rarely allowed myself to acknowledge, was intrigued, even excited. I had never felt this intensely feminine, this aware of how clothing and presentation could alter perception. The thrill of performing a different version of myself was intoxicating. My mom watched silently from the doorway, arms crossed, her gaze assessing every movement I made. "You're adjusting well," she said finally. "But remember, posture, poise, and expression. This isn't just about clothes, it's about embodying the role." Her words were both a lesson and a warning. I realized this wasn't just a casual experiment. It was a test of obedience, of control. And yet, I couldn't deny the subtle pride swelling in me each time I straightened my back, adjusted my dress, or practiced a delicate hand gesture. It was like discovering a new language, one that communicated refinement, elegance, and vulnerability all at once. Hours passed in a haze of adjustments and corrections. My mom had organized a small wardrobe for me, each outfit more elaborate than the last. There were skirts that flared dramatically, blouses with delicate lace trim, and dresses with intricate patterns. I was to try each one, model it for her, and receive feedback. Her critiques were precise. "Move your shoulders like this. Tilt your chin slightly. Smile softer." Every instruction sharpened my awareness, making me hyper-conscious of every motion, every expression. By mid-afternoon, I had learned to move with a tentative grace, balancing the heels while maintaining the poise my mom demanded. Yet the psychological strain was immense. My mind raced constantly. What would Emma think if she saw me like this? Could I hide this secret indefinitely? And more pressing, why was I feeling an undeniable thrill at being dressed, guided, and observed in this way? The suspense heightened when my mom introduced a new element, a social media challenge. She had set up a small camera in my room and instructed me to pose, act, and perform as if I were a model for an online audience. "You'll learn quickly," she said, "that presentation isn't just for me. You'll need to sell this persona to the world." I hesitated, a flicker of panic surging through me. Public exposure, even virtual, was terrifying. What if someone recognized me? What if Emma stumbled upon these videos? Yet, my mom's tone left no room for refusal. I realized that the thrill and fear were intertwined. Each click of the camera, each carefully posed gesture, sent adrenaline coursing through me. The first session was awkward, clumsy even. I fumbled with my expressions, tilted my head incorrectly, and nearly lost balance in the heels. My mom corrected me with gentle but firm instructions, her patience wearing thin only when I faltered repeatedly. After half an hour, though, something strange happened. I began to feel comfortable, even empowered. The act of presenting myself as her daughter was no longer just an obligation, it was a revelation. I could see in the camera how my movements appeared delicate, controlled, almost hypnotically feminine. But with empowerment came anxiety. Every knock at the front door, every unexpected sound from the street outside, made my heart race. Emma could come home at any moment. What would she think? Would she laugh, scold, or worse, judge me? The possibility of exposure added a sharp edge to the excitement, making each pose and gesture feel like a gamble. As the day progressed, my mom pushed me further. She introduced accessories, delicate necklaces, bracelets, and rings. I had to learn how to handle them gracefully, incorporate them into my posture and gestures. Then came the wig, a long, flowing brunette that framed my face and completed the illusion. Adjusting to the wig was challenging. It shifted slightly with every movement, threatening to reveal my disguise. My mom observed my every adjustment, her gaze sharp and unwavering. By evening, I was exhausted. My legs ached from the heels, my face tingled from the layers of makeup, and my mind buzzed with tension. Yet underneath the fatigue, I felt a strange satisfaction. I had endured her challenge, adapted to her expectations, and learned to navigate the precarious line between identity and performance. Dinner that night was surreal. My mom had insisted I remain in full dress and makeup at the table. Each bite of food felt absurdly performative, my movements constrained by the heels and the careful posture she had drilled into me. Emma called unexpectedly, and I froze mid-bite, my mind racing. I imagine her walking in and seeing me like this. The thought sent shivers down my spine, blending fear with a perverse thrill. Later, as I prepared for bed, I reflected on the day. The experience had been exhausting, humiliating at times, yet undeniably transformative. I had glimpsed a side of myself I hadn't fully acknowledged, the ability to inhabit a different persona, to explore femininity in ways I had only dreamed of. And yet, I was acutely aware that this was just the beginning. My mom's control was far from over, and the challenge would escalate. The suspense lingered, like a shadow behind every thought. Every sound, every knock, every message notification sent my heart racing. I was trapped between two worlds, the familiar life of Alex and the unfamiliar, thrilling, terrifying persona my mom demanded. And somewhere deep inside, I knew that giving in completely, embracing this role fully, might change me forever. As I drifted to sleep that night, heels discarded, dress neatly hung, and makeup removed, I felt a mix of dread and anticipation. Tomorrow would be another day of tests, another round of challenges, and another step deeper into a world I had never chosen, but one that was becoming increasingly irresistible. And so, the suspense built. Each moment alone in my room, each interaction with my mom, each fleeting thought of Emma's potential reaction, all served to tighten the tension, making every decision feel like a life-altering gamble. I was no longer just Alex. I was stepping further into the role of her daughter, navigating the thrilling, terrifying, and intoxicating path laid out before me. The morning light spilled across my bedroom, illuminating the dress I had hung carefully the night before. My mom stood beside it, a clipboard in hand, eyes sharp and assessing. Today, she said, we take it further. Social media. Public presentation. You're not just practicing, you're performing for an audience. My stomach dropped. My heart raced. I had imagined challenges, drills, and corrective instructions, but public exposure. even digital, felt like crossing a point of no return. My palms were clammy as I slipped into the pink dress again, the familiar fabric brushing against my skin, reminding me that I was no longer entirely in control of my life. The transformation began as usual: shoes, makeup, hair. But today, the stakes were higher. My mom filmed me posing, adjusting, twirling, and even walking deliberately across the room. She gave precise instructions. Turn your head slowly.
Smile softly.
Let your hands float naturally. I obeyed, my body moving on autopilot, even as my mind screamed. The first video attempt was a disaster. My balance faltered, my smile looked forced, and the wig slipped slightly, exposing the short hair underneath. My mom's gaze was unforgiving. Again. And focused this time. Remember, you're not Alex right now. You're her daughter. Every movement counts. As I repeated the performance, something strange happened. My anxiety transformed into an adrenaline-fueled focus. I could feel the persona slipping into me, not like a costume, but like an alternate version of myself asserting control. My posture straightened, my smile softened, and the movements I had practiced for days finally flowed naturally. Yet the suspense never let up. Every creak of the floor, every passing car outside, made my pulse spike. I was acutely aware that Emma, or anyone, could see me at any moment. The possibility of exposure made the act simultaneously thrilling and terrifying. I wanted to look away, escape, but my mom's strict presence left no room for hesitation. By midday, the challenge escalated. My mom introduced a live streaming scenario. Pretend the world is watching, she said, positioning a camera in front of me. You have followers.
Fans.
People judging every move. Perform for them. Convince them you belong in this role. I swallowed hard and forced myself to stand. The red circle of the recording light glowed like a spotlight, illuminating every inch of me. My mom guided my hands, shoulders, and expressions, reminding me constantly: confidence, poise, and elegance. The session started awkwardly. My voice trembled, and my gestures felt unnatural. But as the minutes passed, I became engrossed. The thrill of performance, combined with the fear of being judged, ignited a strange exhilaration. I was performing as her daughter, not Alex. I existed solely in this persona. Suddenly, a loud knock echoed from the front door. My heart leapt into my throat. My mom froze, eyes narrowing. Don't move. Stay in position. The knock came again, insistent this time. My mind raced. Emma? A neighbor? A friend? Panic surged. My mom motioned for me to stay still while she went to check. I remained frozen, heels digging into the floor, hands delicately poised, every muscle tense. From the hallway, muffled voices floated in. I need to speak with Alex, a voice called. My stomach dropped. Exposure was imminent. My mom's face appeared at the doorway, stern and calculating. It's just your aunt. She's dropping by unexpectedly, she whispered. Relief was fleeting. My aunt had always been perceptive, and she could easily notice the transformation. My mom quickly adjusted my hair and makeup, whispering instructions. Act natural. Smile. Engage lightly. The tension was suffocating. My aunt entered, commenting casually on the setup, but I could feel her eyes on me, lingering on my hair, dress, and posture. Every second was a test, a tightrope walk. One misstep, one flicker of hesitation, could reveal everything. Throughout the visit, I maintained the persona. My aunt made small talk, complimented my appearance, and even asked to take a photo. My mom handed me the phone, guiding my movements. The camera clicked, capturing the image of a girl who wasn't entirely me, but wasn't entirely fake either. I felt a surge of triumph. At least for now, I had passed the test. After the visit, my mom raised the stakes further. She introduced a public outing plan, a short trip to a nearby boutique where I would walk among strangers fully dressed and accessorized. This is the ultimate test, she said. If you succeed, you'll prove you can maintain control under pressure. My nerves were on edge as we prepared. Heels, dress, wig, accessories, everything meticulously arranged. As we stepped outside, the world seemed different. Every passerby became a potential observer, every glance a judgment. My pulse thudded in my chest, my grip on my mom's arm tense. The walk to the boutique was a trial of endurance. Every step was calculated, every smile rehearsed, every glance intentional. I felt exposed, vulnerable, yet a part of me reveled in the attention. People turned to look, some smiled, some whispered, but I forced myself to maintain the persona, to embody her daughter fully. At the boutique, the suspense escalated further. The stylist we met there was quick to assess my appearance, offering compliments and suggestions. My mom encouraged interaction, asking me to model, pose, and engage with customers. The experience was simultaneously humiliating and intoxicating. I had never felt so visible, so scrutinized, yet so alive. Suddenly, a familiar voice from behind made me freeze. "Alex? Is that you?" My pulse hit my throat. I turned slowly to see Emma standing at the boutique entrance, eyes wide in shock. Time seemed to stop. My mom's hand tightened on mine, a silent warning. I had only seconds to react. How could I explain this? Should I flee, pretend, or confess? My mind raced, heart hammering. The world around me blurred, leaving only the three of us in a suspended moment of tension. Emma's gaze flicked from my face to my outfit, to the heels, to the wig. Her expression shifted rapidly, confusion, disbelief, and finally, a faint smile that hinted at amusement or judgment. I couldn't tell which. My mom's voice cut through the silence. "Emma, he's exploring something important. Let him finish." Her tone left no room for argument, yet I could feel the weight of the moment pressing down. Every instinct screamed to run, to shed the persona and return to safety. But I didn't move. I couldn't. Something inside me had changed. The performance, the fear, the exhilaration, it had become part of me. I stood poised, smiled softly, and held my posture, fully inhabiting the role my mom had created. Emma stepped closer, examining me with curiosity. "You look different," she said finally, a teasing edge in her voice. "I didn't think you'd actually do it." The words were both relief and torture. She had recognized me, yet she hadn't judged outright. But the uncertainty lingered. What would happen next? Would she accept, mock, or expose me? The suspense was unbearable. My mom's hand on my back was a grounding force, a reminder that the challenge was far from over. Each interaction, each glance from Emma, each passing stranger kept my heart racing. By the time we returned home, I was physically exhausted and mentally drained. My legs ached from the heels, my mind buzzed with adrenaline, and my emotions were tangled. Fear, exhilaration, shame, pride, and anticipation all interwoven. That night, as I lay in bed, heels discarded, dress hung neatly, and makeup removed, the tension remained. The public outing had proven my ability to perform under pressure, but it had also exposed me to unforeseen scrutiny. Emma's reaction was unpredictable. My mom's demands would escalate, and the persona I had been forced to embody was now inseparable from my identity. The climax of the challenge had revealed the stakes, the thrill, and the terror of living as her daughter. The lines between Alex and the persona were blurring, leaving me suspended in a world where every action, glance, and decision could change everything. And as sleep finally claimed me, the suspense lingered. Tomorrow promised new challenges, higher stakes, and perhaps the ultimate test of whether I could navigate this new identity, or be consumed by it entirely. The house was quiet, but my mind was anything but. I lay in bed, the soft hum of the city outside mixing with the rapid thudding of my heart. The day had been exhausting. Heels, dress, wig, performances, public scrutiny, but it wasn't over. It never was. My mom's presence loomed even in my thoughts, her voice a constant echo. "You'll wear what I say. You'll be who I say you are." I closed my eyes, but images of the day played on repeat. My awkward first steps in the dress, the sweat of anxiety as the camera recorded every movement, the heart-stopping moment when Emma had entered the boutique. Her gaze had lingered too long, her expression unreadable. I still couldn't tell whether she found it funny, impressive, or unacceptable. A soft knock at my bedroom door jolted me upright. "Alex? Are you awake?" My mom's voice was calm, almost deceptively sweet. I froze, unsure whether to answer. Part of me wanted to retreat under the covers, erase myself, become invisible. But I knew better. My mom always knew when I hesitated. "Yes," I called out, my voice trembling slightly. "Good," she said, stepping into the room with that precise, measured walk that always made me aware of my every movement. In her hand was a small envelope, thick with paper and a mischievous glint in her eyes. "This arrived today. I think it's time for the next step." I sat up, my pulse quickening. What is it?" She handed me the envelope. My fingers shook as I tore it open. Inside was a glossy card with my name printed elegantly at the top. Beneath it, a message in bold letters made my stomach twist. "Invitation. Live social media event. Showcase your transformation. Tonight at 8 p.m. Are you ready to be seen?" My mom smiled, a mixture of pride and challenge. "You see, Alex, this is the opportunity you've been preparing for. The whole world watching. Not just family, not just Emma. Everyone. Followers, friends, strangers. You have a choice, step up or retreat." I stared at the card, a cocktail of fear, excitement, and dread swirling inside me. My mind raced. The thought of performing live terrified me, but part of me, an undeniable part, thrilled at the idea. For the first time, the persona my mom had shaped was no longer confined to practice or private videos. The world could see her. "Me, Mom." My voice faltered. Words failed me. My stomach churned. What if I couldn't do it? What if Emma saw? What if the whole world laughed? She walked closer, her gaze intense. "Alex, look at me. You've trained. You've practiced. You've become her. You're ready. Tonight, you decide if you continue as yourself or step into the life I've prepared." I swallowed hard, the weight of the decision pressing down. My chest tightened. A part of me wanted to say no, to reclaim Alex entirely. Another part, a part one didn't fully recognize, whispered, "Yes. Show them. Prove it. Become her." Suddenly, my phone buzzed. A notification lit the room, a message from Emma. My hands trembled as I opened it. Her words were short, almost teasing. "I saw you today. Impressive or terrifying. Can't wait to see more." My heart raced. Was that approval? Mockery? Challenge? I couldn't tell. Mom's hand rested lightly on my shoulder, grounding me yet intensifying the suspense. "You see, Alex, everyone is watching and everyone has expectations. But tonight, the true test begins. Are you ready to step into her shoes, literally and figuratively?" I glanced at the clock. 7:30 p.m. 30 minutes until the live event. 30 minutes until the world could see me as her. A cold wave of uncertainty hit. My heels still felt unfamiliar, the dress tight against my skin, my wig slightly askew. I imagined the camera zooming in, the comments flooding in, Emma watching, strangers judging. Every fear I'd carried throughout this transformation surged to the surface, yet so did a thrilling rush, a pulse of daring that I couldn't ignore. I took a deep breath, steadying myself. My reflection in the mirror stared back, the dress perfectly fitted, makeup flawless, wig immaculate. But behind the image, I saw Alex, unsure, trembling, and yet ready. A duality, a tension between who I was and who I was becoming, hung in the room like a live wire. Mom's voice broke through the silence. 10 minutes, Alex. Will you step out and face the world, or will you hide and let this chance slip away? The envelope, Emma's message, the live event, it all swirled in my mind. I could feel the adrenaline sharpening every nerve. One step could change everything. One step could expose me. One step could solidify my new identity, or shatter it completely. I moved toward the door, heart hammering, hands trembling, every instinct screaming caution. Mom followed silently, camera in hand, poised to document every moment. My phone buzzed again, another notification. A live reminder. Live event starting soon. Your followers are waiting. I paused, hand on the doorknob. The world waited on the other side. Emma's cryptic words replayed in my mind. Mom's gaze burned into me, expectant and unyielding. I took a deep breath, tightened my grip on the doorknob, and then froze. A sound, a soft, deliberate laugh, echoed from the hallway. Not Emma's. Not my mom's. Someone else. A shadow moved just beyond the threshold, just enough to catch my eye. My pulse skyrocketed. My mind spun. Who could it be? How had they gotten in? And more importantly, would they see her, me in the persona I had been forced to become, or would everything unravel in an instant? Time seemed to stretch. Every second a heartbeat of suspense. Every decision a knife edge. The moment of truth had arrived. And then, just as I was about to open the door, the shadow stepped forward,